On to our fifth and final story of the program. The Syrian government has condemned the latest U.S.-led coalition attack on Dayr al-Zawr province that left over 30 civilians dead. In two separate letters to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and the Security Council, the Syrian Foreign Ministry described the airstrike as a violation of its sovereignty. It accused the United States and its allies of disregard for international law and massacring innocent civilians. Damascus said such attacks proves Washington supports terrorist groups. The latest U.S.-led attack targeted Shafa village in Dayr al-Zawr. Most of the victims were women and children. The United States and its allies have been criticized for heavy civilian casualties caused by their airstrikes in Syria and Iraq. The attacks have been going on since 2014. Activists and witnesses put the death toll from the U.S.-led attacks in the two Arab countries at thousands. Press TV's Muhammad Ali joins us now from the Syrian capital, Damascus. Muhammad, talk to us more about the aftermath of the recent attack in Dayr al-Zawr and also on the response that the government in Damascus has given.
Yes, at least 30 people, mostly women and children, were killed by the recent U.S.-led coalition airstrikes that targeted al-Shafi village, which is about 110 kilometers southeast of Dayr al-Zawr. Not the first attack, of course, especially when we speak about the last month. Tens of attacks led to the killing of dozens of civilians as a result. The Syrian government, actually, the foreign ministry, has been sending tens of letters to the United Nations about such attacks, the recent of which the Syrian Foreign Ministry sent letters to the United Nations Security Council and Secretary General saying that the U.S.-led coalition is illegal and it continues with its brutal crimes against civilians in Syria, killing, of course, at least 30 just yesterday, 30 people, mostly women and children. The Foreign Ministry letter said that the continuation of such crimes is a clear interpretation of the U.S. disrespect of international law, which, of course, adding that the formation of the U.S.-led coalition is in itself contradictory to international law. Also, the Foreign Ministry letters said that the U.S.-led coalition was formed under the pretext of fighting terrorism, but only targets civilians, women, and children. And also, the Foreign Ministry letters pointed out what happened also yesterday about the Israeli strike that targeted al-Kisra, saying that the U.S.-led coalition airstrikes share the same goals of the Israeli attacks on Syria, and they are all aggression. Also, the letters pointed out that the silence of states and international organizations over the crimes of the U.S. and its allies unmasked the level of such states' double standards policies. This is according to the recent letters that the Syrian Foreign Ministry sent. And finally, concluding, the letters asked the United Nations Security Council and its member states to directly act to put an end and condemn such attacks, and also to stop what the Syrian government describes as repeated violations of international law.
And also this, in the words of Damascus, puts a big question mark over the conduct of the United States and the so-called coalition, which claims to be fighting the terrorists, but many believe that they actually aren't.
Exactly. The Syrian government officials during the years of war have said it a lot, especially, of course, we're speaking here following the formation of the U.S.-led coalition in 2014. Syrian government officials have been saying time and again that the U.S.-led coalition is not serious about eliminating fully Daesh, only trying to portray to the world that it is fighting Daesh. But at the end of the day, the U.S.-led coalition is using Daesh in order to prolong the crisis and continue with its illegal presence inside Syria. The Syrian government officials made it clear several times that the U.S.-led coalition even actually is recruiting some of those terrorists in al-Rukban camp, for example, near al-Tanf, and also trying to send more and more of those terrorists into the Syrian desert in order to prolong this crisis and definitely make its presence in Syria as kind of a legal one.
Press TV's Muhammad Ali joining us from the Syrian capital, Damascus. Thank you for the update, Muhammad.